A motion.
Emotion?
Yes, I am motioning that the board receive the default budget in function and object code detail.
You mean, may I, before it's seconded, you mean you'd like to ask Mr. Stokinger to generate that and deliver it to the board?
It should already be generated.
Should or not, that's what the motion, I believe, should be.
Oh,
Because
I
if it
don't
isn't
care.
if it isn't generated, then that motion's moot. I don't care how we vote.
Point of order, don't we usually make motions to put things on future agendas?
This
Not-
is true.
Not for action.
But
tonight.
true.
Not during this time.
Tough luck.
Like, okay.
My motion is on the floor. I'd like a second.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion. Jack?
Do we have it?
No, we
Can
don't.
can we get it?
It's more work. It's not how he's.
I-
I'll let.
Yeah, I'd love to
He
hear
does
this,
this
because I always hear this, okay, to be fair to both sides, I always hear this. It's, you know, if we need information, I don't care whether you're the school board or the budget committee, we should have it. On the other hand, if it gives undue, if it doesn't accomplish anything more than what we already have, and it creates undue, you know, we gotta hire extra guys or people, temps, to do this work, it's a whole different set of issues, so,
I'm not going to let him say it. He's extremely busy.
no, we all know that.
It's additional work. He's created this default budget for how many years? A lot of years.
14.
You know how he comes to the number and what he does. It has worked from both districts. I have complete confidence. I've seen it in the past because I've asked for it because I needed to have a deeper understanding. I'm 100% certain that this default budget is done correctly. It's additional work. Let's not pretend it's anything other than that.
And, if I might, we just voted on the default budget. So this is like, you know,
It's work
putting the
about-
cart
work-
before the horse, or something, you know, it's, the horse is already out of the barn. So what's the point in ask him to do extra work to generate the object code version when we're done with the default budget?
Well, we're not done with the default budget until we get to deliberative session.
Exactly. Thank you.
So you're gonna be bringing up changing the default budget?
No, but I'm just saying, that if any board member needs information, I think they should get it, as long as it's reasonable.
See,
As long as it's informative and reasonable, and they can drive information out of it. I mean, I think that, well, I struggle, Peter, honestly, I'm gonna be very candid, I struggle sometimes with, you know, I've asked for things, no, we're not going there. And it's your job as chair to support the board members to get them what they ask for. And I think this is a bigger issue for me,
Agreed.
okay? And look, this is no reflection on George at all, okay? You only have to walk in his office to see what he does, okay, as far as his workload goes. But I just think we need to be cognizant of requests and whether they're, you know, look, not every request is sincere, and I get it. But it is a question I have, and it is something I struggle with. And I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna abstain on this, because I'm torn here, I really am. But, you know, is it reasonable, is it unreasonable, does it exist, doesn't exist? What kind of workload goes into getting the person what they need, and can it even be done in a timely fashion? So those are
So
questions I have.
I'll go to you in a second, Greg, and then to Donna. But I do want to say that, I don't look at my position as getting every individual board member things they personally desire. It's what information the board needs to take action. So I'm looking for what the board needs are, you know, and also, and ask the question, do we have it already? No, it's going to take effort. Make sure there's an awareness of, you know, that something else is going to slip because of it. And so if the board feels they need this information, the board, right, not an individual, then you do it. But when if Mr. Stokinger comes back and says later, well, something else didn't get done because I went and did that, I don't expect any Greg's next.
Okay.
I don't expect any repercussions to fall on him for that. Okay, I'm just making it flat out, you know, when you put more stuff on somebody, you can't put 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sugar bag. You just can't.
I think I acknowledge that.
Okay, I'm just stating it as plainly as I can. Greg?
Are we allowed to ask George what that would kind of take?
Sure.
Just to see if it would be reasonable, or would it be, as Jack says, or is it just too much?
I've done it before, I could do it again.
What slips?
No, this is, you know,
Well, your
This is-
audit, Mr. Belo, because.
The audit,
I responded to
the RFQs, all those things.
Several.
this is the guy
emails
doing all that
today.
work.
So let me,
Hold on, I like to,
Yep.
what
I'm
about,
responding to emails tonight about workshops for my payroll people to complete the year end. I responded to several inquiries from the school, from the auditors. That's been a priority that's been made very clear to me.
thank you.
Things such as RFQs.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Jack?
Thank you.
so
Who's next?
I think this board,
I'm sorry.
I think this board has been very, very willing, okay? If there is a workload issue, I think we've always been very supportive of the administration when they come to us and ask for us, and I can think of a number of places where they could use additional help. It comes down to, again, getting the work done. You know, we just heard George talk about his workload, and I'm appreciative of all the work that he does, but I want to make sure it all gets done and gets done. So if there are additional assets needed, right, I want to make sure that we have the assets in place to get that work done. If that's, and this is more of a
That-
philosophical,
that-
I know it's a little off
At
topic
that
right
point,
now,
though,
but.
no, it's on topic, but
And
that point
next.
is quality control, you know, so, you know, whether it's Kathy Belcher or whether it's George, there are certain people to make sure that it's done correctly. You just don't grab somebody off the street and say, hey, why don't you come on in and do this? We've seen what people put together that don't know what they're doing. It doesn't really mean anything. You know, so it has to be done right. And to ask him to do something after, you know, it's additional work, and you're right, he's not gonna tell you that he can't do certain things. But I'm just telling you, I know what this guy does every day, and I know what I'm down there demanding, and we're behind on a lot of things. And so
Point
it's
of
just,
order,
it's
Mr.
just
Belo,
more
I was
needless,
next.
more needless work that, you know, the Greens with all their right-to-know
Okay,
requests and
just-
flood the office with a million things, that's what obstructionists do.
Stay off that word. Mrs. Green, you're next.
Thank you. The law requires the default budget to be generated from the current year's budget plus or minus adjustments. That we have an extremely expensive software accounting program that generates this in the flick of a button. Now,
Are you an accountant?
I-
Do you know that?
Wow, it's just a flick of
I-
a button now.
I'm doing a lot wrong.
I'm just
Sure, I
asking.
know.
a printout is very easy. The adjustments are difficult.
You know this
But
package.
how did Mr. Stokinger arrive at our handy-dandy little, very convenient summary sheet that gets us exactly at the same as our proposed budget? Because you know why? He started the default budget on the proposed budget and not on the current year's budget. And that is not the way it's supposed
That's
to
not true.
be done.
It's Mrs. Green making up
And
stuff.
that's why he
not
doesn't
true.
have it to
Not
give
true.
it to us.
It's not true.
There is,
If
the
you're-
job is supposed to be
reputation is
done
being-
from the
Are
current
you-
year's budget, and if he doesn't have it, he didn't do it right.
Are you accusing our finance director of lying to us?
No, I'm accusing him of not doing it properly.
And we'd like to put you on notice, Mrs. Green, that you're creating a hostile work environment for the workers here. I've heard from many of them, and I've already spoken to the chair about this.
You don't threaten me.
I'm not threatening you.
Don't you dare
I'm
threaten
not
me.
threatening you. You are creating
Don't
a
you
hostile
dare
work
threaten me.
environment
Shut
for the
up.
workers here.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
done.
class act you are, Mrs. Green, class act.
I'm going to a vote on this,
Can we call the question?
okay? Thank you. All those in favor of the request, please raise your hands
I forget what it was.
to ask Mr. Stover to do a
Oh, right.
object code version. Okay, 2, all those against? 4, abstaining. Thank you, okay.
Mr. Ward is, oh, he's just.
Mr. Ward is starting his truck. And,
We'll change the vote.
no,
Okay. I just didn't know what the count was.
with that, I'm adjourning the meeting. Thank you all. At least before midnight.